Now, what kind of measures will you be expecting the EFCC to put in place, Sonny?
If we really want to fight corruption, we have to even strengthen the EFCC and train them in terms of equipping them with technology and other sectors of the country with the security agencies. That is how we can tackle corruption, because when you heard about other countries and other developed countries, not that people are not corrupt there, but the system prevents them from taking out that corrupt practices. So what I expected from the government is to come up with some IT solutions that will prevent people from stealing. Like I just read on the news like 3 hours ago that some funds that these bailout funds that go into the state, like Imo and some other terrorist state, I mean 4 states, their funds were being diverted for other purposes. So if we really want to fight corruption, I think we have to go with the technological aspect of it.
Muiwa, let me come back to you, but this time on switched lanes. To what extent will you say the judiciary has helped in this cause?
As a matter of fact, we've never had a system in Nigeria until 1960 where we had a semblance of it. And up to the misfortune that military rule brought upon us, whatever the 1964 founding fathers thought of in terms of the system was destabilized or totally disrupted by the cabal that has held Nigeria hostage over the last 55, 56 years. So we haven't had that system in place in Nigeria, and it would not be surprising if the wrath in Nigeria's judiciary is far more than the wrath in the political circles, as we have often thought, because when Obasanjo set up the EFCC in the 2000s, the idea was civil, it was noble. The support it had was encourageable. But the point remains that even when these cases get to court, you find these guys escaping justice.
It behoves on EFCC to actually prepare their own cases. Most of the time, what we see in Nigeria is that there's a certain hope or focus on media trials, but media trials does not work in court. You go to court and you would present evidence of why you want to either defend this man or you want this man to be prosecuted by the state. And if EFCC, in my opinion, if the EFCC believe that the media trials or media expose that happens now and then would help their case, it will not just it would not. That's not how the courts work. So as we thought, bringing systems in place, bringing technology in place, making sure ministries in the government, in my opinion, should have their own anti-corruption units. We also should know that EFCC should be better prepared by getting the best lawyers. Once they do have evidence there, they should get the best lawyers to make sure that whoever needs to be convicted, is convicted.
And just before we go, Muiwa, again, give us a comparative analysis of this issue of immunity for legislators or leadership of the legislative arm in Nigeria, and what is obtainable in Western democracies, which I believe is where we got ours from.
In civilized climes, the word immunity only applies to the executive. And that word immunity, we must not forget, was borrowed from the presidential system of government. These are part of the dividends of operating a presidential system. And why do we have immunity for public office holders, particularly for the executive, so that they can have the full attention and be able to discharge their civic responsibilities without interruption, without disturbances, without distractions? It is not that they cannot be tried or investigated. It is that they cannot be convicted while in office. And it was borrowed from the American system. Of course, you and I know that Nigeria operates an executive presidential system of government, liking the fashion after the American model. But even in America, this madness, in quotes, does not come into play every now and then. The Nigerian elite have found a way of making sure that they hide under the umbrella of immunity, under the confines of immunity, to ensure that they perpetuate very heinous crimes, and heinous crimes in terms of massive looting of Nigeria's treasury while in office, and they know fully well that when they walk out of office, they can simply go give $1 billion or $1 million naira or $1 million to a judge who earns about 350,000 naira per month, and it gives them perpetual injunction, restricting the anti-corruption agencies from trying them. And that's why we need to address it. The Nigerian elite have found a way of making sure that that immunity clause does not even, extends beyond their stay in office. So I would recommend, moving forward, that while that clause should remain, a clause, a caveat should be introduced. And that caveat should say that if you are in office and you commit a criminal offense vis-a-vis murder, corruption, philandry, you are liable to being tried, and you must answer for your offense, for your crime or allegations.
All right, guys, that'll be all for this conversation. Thanks for coming on the program and sharing your thoughts and perspectives. But we'll take a break, and when we return, we'll shift our attention to the Sustainable Development Goals. Don't go away. Welcome back. Now, joining us to continue this discussion is Wale Mikaya. He's an SDG advocate. Mr. Mikaya, it's a pleasure to have you on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Well, it's been a while. The SDG program, I think it's also part of the 2016 budget. But so far, what's the level of success we've achieved?
Particularly, I'll be sincere with you, is that I cannot measure that, because when the entire world came together last year and they signed up to that agreement. This is our development framework for the next 15 years. Nigeria developed a country strategy. Very beautiful document, about 44 pages. And when I go through that document, I solidly believe that if we can do what is in that document, we will achieve a lot in Nigeria. But I haven't seen much of those activities in recent times. I know we have a special assistant on SDG, a coordinating role. We have a social protection special advisor. And I think there needs to be a fusion between all of these people to be able to really get Nigeria started. We haven't seen much of implementation of the budget. The budget really is about SDG, in health, in education, in labor, everything entirely in the budget, because I've looked at it and I've seen projects that when they are fulfilled, SDGs should be something
covered.
That we can, covered. But we haven't seen a monitoring role where if this project is going on in, say, Ogun State, what part of SDG is this project fulfilling? It's not existing. So maybe there's something going on underneath that we're not aware of, but I can't see a coordinating office that has taken up a role to say, okay, this is what SDG should be in Nigeria. For instance, it is said that we should have a national definition for poverty.
That's right.
I don't know. We conclude that it should be $1.25, but we know that dollars fluctuate, so it means that poverty level in Nigeria will be fluctuating. But we should have a national definition up to, because poverty in Lagos is not the same as poverty in Kano. But we don't have a national definition.
So I mean, because now you're saying there is a document, but then that document is nowhere near implementation, if I'm correct.
Perfectly.
And the previous document, that's the MDGs, we couldn't fulfill that. I think it was also due to probably implementation and awareness, so to speak. But in terms of now implementation, again, what would you say you've seen? Perhaps maybe, like you said, there's an office of an SA on SDGs, and then there's that of the social protection there, about which you advocate should be working together. But what about the National Assembly? Are they doing enough? Are they passing laws to, also bring about some synergy with what the federal government is doing?
Okay, what I've seen is that, first, the SDG is about not leaving people behind. Laws that are passed is about people, it's about prosperity, it's about peace, it's about partnership, and it's about planet. So every law that is debated in the National Assembly is about SDG. Of course, we have a popular one that didn't go through, the gender equality, that didn't go through, but every of the bills that have been considered in the National Assembly, they are perfectly for SDG. Now, debating a law is different from implementing a law. So we have the social protection, special advisor on social protection, and with a 300 billion to work with, the Teach for Nigeria program, the feeding program, the conditional transfer, the vocational skills, the STEM, funding of giving of a scholarship to people that want to study technological-oriented courses. All of those things are currently, to the best of my knowledge, plans. We said that we will employ 500,000 teachers.
That's right.
This is over a year now.
But I believe that isn't that in place? Haven't they started?
I am not sure. I'm not sure. So we have good plans, but I'm not sure when we are supposed to, start running.
Begin implementing.
It is really, really slow.